Hi, good afternoon. I'm Francis Osloy and this is your 4 o'clock bulletin. UEFA have opened disciplinary action against Patrice Evra. Evra was sent off before kick-off in Marseille's Europa League tie against Vitoria for lashing out at a fan. The former Manchester United defender appeared to attack after engaging in a war of words. Our reporter Tom Norris tells us more.
I love this game!
He may love the game, but former Manchester United star Patrice Evra didn't show much love to his fans last night. The Frenchman was sent off before kick-off in Marseille's Europa League match away to Vitoria Guimarães. In a confrontation with fans, Evra was seen aiming a kung fu-style kick at a fan's face. Deja vu, anyone?
A man who has been quite rightly dismissed. A man who is now jumped. Oh my goodness me! He has kicked. He's punched a fan. Eric Cantona has jumped in and scissor kung fu kick a fan.
Eric Cantona was sent off in 1995 for a similar incident at Selhurst Park. After being sent off, Cantona was jeered by fans, so the Frenchman kung fu kicked a spectator. The United striker acknowledged that this was a mistake, but showed little remorse.
I've seen so many players scoring goals. They know this kind of feeling. But this one, a player jump and kick somebody not somebody, a hooligan. It's not the kind of thing you see every day. No, it was a mistake. But that's life, that's me.
Evra is yet to comment, but the people of Southampton find it hard to defend his actions.
I don't think physical violence is a good response to being taunted. It's inappropriate escalation of response, isn't it?
He's a professional, he's on TV, he's getting paid a lot of money to do what he does. He should have that boundary that stops him from doing that, and I believe he should be banned from football for life now.
I don't think you should physically retaliate regardless of the abuse. I don't think it's acceptable to abuse people, but actually there should be proper mechanisms to address that, and part of being a professional footballer is about being a role model to other people.
Far and be racist to a player, the player should humble himself. You know what I mean? He's a big player. He's mature enough to humble himself to control his anger.
UEFA have now opened an investigation into the incident, and now the French side will start to think of how long they're going to be missing the left-back.
Portsmouth could finish off a great week by progressing to the second round of the FA Cup. Pompey travelled to Luton Town in the first round tie after beating Crawley early in the week in a Checkatrade trophy. Defender Matt Clark was nominated for Player of the Round after his stunning solo goal in a 3-1 victory at Fratton Park. Eastleigh have made the most of this weekend's FA Cup ties by rearranging a fixture. The Spitfires had to call off their tie against Chester after a corner of the pitch was deemed unplayable. But the game will go ahead this Saturday at the Silver Lake Stadium, where Eastleigh could rise up to 14th with a win. Rafael Nadal has withdrawn from his Paris Masters with a knee injury. The world number one was due to face Serb Filip Krajinovic in the quarter-finals on Friday. Nadal said he would do his best to return for the season-ending ATP Tour Finals, which took place in London from 12th to the 19th of November. Madison Square Garden will host plenty of Brits this Saturday night as Michael Bisping headlines UFC 217. The Mancunian defends his middleweight title against Canadian Georges St-Pierre.
George is a very good wrestler, but you know what the best takedown in the game is? A left hook. That's how I won this belt, and that's how I'm going to keep hold of this belt.
England's squad was announced earlier this week, and some of our South Coast clubs saw players included. Our reporter Dom Pont tells us more.
Another Premier League weekend is upon us, and England players are at the centre of attention after the senior squad was announced this week. Southampton host Burnley at St Mary's, but Fraser Forster will not be joining up with the Three Lions after the game. Manager Mauricio Pellegrino respects the decision of England boss Gareth Southgate.
I had to respect the opinion of the manager. He knows better than me how they are competition in the squad. Fraser got a huge competition in this place. You got up and down all the time.
Saints defender Ryan Bertrand was included as part of the side. Another player shelved by Southgate was Bournemouth's Jermaine Defoe. The veteran striker has only scored once this season, but head coach Eddie Howe isn't worried about Defoe's form.
Jermaine's fine. I think he'll have a big part, I've always said, in our season. He's already, scored a very important goal. He's had other chances to score. And again, the team has to create and be able to supply him with the chances that he needs.
England's international team face Germany and Brazil at Wembley Stadium next week.
Football Manager 2018 made headlines this week after announcing that fictional players in the game could come out as gay. Jack Flanagan looks into whether this could have an impact in the real world.
That is the music that you would normally associate with taking AFC Fylde from the National League to Champions League glory. However, this week Football Manager are in the news for a very different reason. In an exclusive interview with the BBC, Football Manager creator Miles Jacobson revealed exactly what the changes were.
We've taken the step to include gay players in this year's edition of the game. We just think it's crazy that in 2017 we are in a world where people can't be themselves.
Dave Ravel, the chair of Gay Gooners, the biggest LGBT football supporters club in the world, believes that Football Manager have made an accurate assumption as to how players will eventually come out.
I'm Dave Ravel and I'm the chair. First couple of players to come out may well be younger players that just always been quite open about their sexuality. That's how they're doing it in this programme. They're not letting any famous stars come out. It's just new people coming up through the academy. But that's quite likely to be one of the ways that people do come out in the future.
Homosexuality is still considered a taboo in the modern English game. And with chants like these that took place in a recent match between Leeds and Brighton, it is easy to understand why gay players may not want to reveal their identities. With this most recent addition to the game, here's what the people of Southampton think.
I think that it's going to inspire maybe more people to play it, because you don't want to see any prejudice in any games now, do you?
Personally, I think the benefits of Football Manager is the realism of it. I wouldn't necessarily say that would promote from Football Manager actually into the real world.
I don't play Football Manager very often, but I don't see what good having gay players in the game could bring.
Well, I think that anything that encourages sort of inclusiveness in football is a good thing. So if you're introducing the people who play the game to the concept of there being openly gay players in the Premiership, then it might drive them to be a bit more inclusive when it comes to their response to the actual players.
We approached prominent LGBT charity Stonewall for a comment regarding this matter. However, they were unwilling to talk to us.
That's unfortunately not authorised to do that. We don't have anyone available at the moment.
Football Manager 2018 is set for full release on the 10th of November, and it'll be interesting to see if this new feature will have an impact on the amount of sales.
The NFL is growing in the UK. Ever since the first international game was held back in 2007, the sport has expanded and gone on to new heights. This season is the largest yet, with 4 international games split between Twickenham and Wembley Stadium. But some feel the matchups were lackluster this year, and the underwhelming display could hinder chances of an NFL franchise starting in London. Tom Shaw-Mellors reports.
Good afternoon from Twickenham, where the NFL rolls into town.
The Indianapolis Colts and Jacksonville Jaguars get set to play in the first of 3 games in the United Kingdom this year.
Deep ball time with a flag out, and it's caught! And it's a touchdown for Jeremy Macklin.
Could the NFL be close to bringing a franchise to the English capital, or will it be much further down the line than first believed? After providing 4 incredible sellouts in London, many thought the standard on the field this year was extremely disappointing. Broadcaster and the US Sports podcast host Max Whittle expects an NFL franchise in London to take time due to the fact of non-competitiveness in this year's international fixtures.
I think the games this season were pretty atrocious. We had 4 games. It was the first time we had 4 games, and everything went well in terms of pulling off 2 back-to-backs. There weren't too many negative comments about Twickenham, but the performances were pretty bad. I mean, the first 3 games, the scoreline was 97-7. So you had 2 shutouts, not a lot of points on both ends.
The director of the British American Football Association, Russ Hewitt, does not believe this will have a major impact on the opportunity of a London franchise, as it's normal for some games not to match expectation.
We have had 2 one-sided games, first time ever. It's 4 games back-to-back. Probably the most anticipated games, best games, with a worst performance. But you can't control that. That's a week-to-week with the NFL. The very best game was probably the least anticipated, was Cleveland versus Minnesota.
That's the view from the experts, but what do the players and fans alike feel about the underwhelming show of the international series and the effect it may have on the London franchise? Sam Taylor, who has played the game in America and Canada at high school level, believes that the NFL should put on high quality games to help build the fan base towards a level that could host the team in London.
In order to even stand a chance, I think they have to deliver the best game possible.
and but yet they pick some of the worst teams typically that go over, right? Like, you don't see Seattle versus New England going over, right? Because they want to keep that big game over here. But I think if they were serious about trying to expand over there, they would send those teams over there.
Jacob Thomas, who has played at a high level around Europe, notably for the Royce Imperials in Spain, believes that the NFL have to start sending stronger teams over to play in London, which can develop the game and look towards creating a local franchise.
Can't let it be viewed to have a negative effect. You've got to look at the positive to that. The other upside is that the other team is putting a lot of points out, and fans like to see that. It can have some negative connotations, but I think in the long run it shouldn't have that big of an impact on it. I think maybe one thing is just getting better matchups brought over here, potentially, but that's something to work towards for the future, I guess. Maybe before setting up a franchise is just getting a few better teams to play here and play each other, as opposed to some of the weaker teams in the NFL.
With England's youth teams doing well on the international stage, winning the Under-17s World Cup, Jack Cochrane has gone to find out if England's success at youth level means there will be a clearer pathway through to the first team at club level.
Hudson-Odoi, Foden's on. Can it get even better for England? Foden! Oh, the party can begin now! 2 for Foden, 5 for England, and an Under-17 World Cup for England.
After the Under-20s World Cup success last summer and the 17s this week, England's future looks bright. But with top English clubs continuing to send our youth out on loan, the question's simple.
Should I stay or should I go? England in front for the first time in the final. Manchester City's Phil Foden. From 2 down, they lead 3-2.
Phil Foden won the player of the tournament. The Man City youngster seemed confident that all of this youth side could progress through the ranks, but admitted that some youth players may not be able to get first-team football at their current English clubs.
It's going to be hard, don't get me wrong, but I think everyone will find the level and the club. I think everyone will make it eventually, but maybe not at the club that they want to, but somewhere that our club will want them.
Raphael Honigstein, football journalist for BT Sport and ESPN, thinks that young English players would be best off following the likes of Jadon Sancho, who moved to Dortmund this summer.
The loan thing is less common in the Bundesliga because you have the second teams. The second teams will play against, they're effectively under-23 teams, and they play against other under-23 teams, but also against regular third and fourth division sides. You don't necessarily are in this position that you are here, that when you're 19, 20, not playing regularly, that you're effectively not playing at all.
Schweinsteiger really in the wars. It's Germany's time again. World Cup winners for a 4th time.
It's quite obvious that in Germany it has worked. There's been a bit of a production line, youngsters coming through. Bundesliga is getting younger and younger because more and more clubs are quite willing to trust young players to play them. Also, again, a financial dimension to this, because a lot of these teams do not have the money to buy real top stars.
Raphael Honigstein there explaining why German football has been so much more successful at bringing through young talent. Obviously though, it's a results business. Eastleigh youth teamer Tom Bearwish understands the risk that clubs would be taking if they promoted youngsters too quickly, and thinks it's a perfectly acceptable strategy to go out on loan and wait to be given a chance with your parent club.
It's difficult, like there's obviously, from the level that we're at, it's completely different to the level the first team are at, so it's a big step. So if we do get a pro contract, then I guess like the idea is to go out on loan, get some experience, then come back, and by then would be that level.
Hopefully all this young English talent gets a chance to shine in the Premier League. But if not, leaving the country certainly seems like an attractive alternative to being loaned out to the lower leagues.
Thank you for listening. That's all from us now. Tune in next time. Remember, you can keep up to date on our website, solentsportsnews.co.uk.